All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Pistons. We're also going to be talking about Shaedon Sharpe. Now, I want to make this video, and I guess we're going to talk about Shaedon Sharpe possibly going to the Detroit Pistons because the Pistons have the 5th pick. I've been doing a lot more research on Sharpe. I'm probably going to make a video about him on my Rockets channel after this. But he's a really interesting prospect. If you're not aware, he didn't go to college. He didn't go to the G League. He didn't play overseas. He's coming out of high school. You don't see this very often. You almost never see this at this point. Especially with the NCAA, the NIL, you can now get paid. The G League, you get paid. You get paid. So going from high school to the NBA, that's something we really don't see much. But Detroit, like I said, they've got that 5th pick. And, I kind of see, the deeper I do in my draft dives, the more I kind of understand why Detroit, it's not the worst thing in the world to have the 5th pick, but it's not ideal. It's not like the most ideal thing in the world. That would be more like 3 or at least number 4. That'd be a lot more ideal. But Detroit's going to have some options. You might be able to draft Jaden Ivey. I would imagine from Detroit's standpoint, if Jaden Ivey is still on the board at 5, he's 100% going to Detroit. I would imagine that. Keegan Murray, another interesting prospect. I wouldn't be surprised if Sacramento decides to take him because at the same time, Jaden Ivey on the Kings sounds pretty dope. Kings fans sound kind of excited about that. But then why'd you trade Tyrese Halliburton? Right? You already have Davion Mitchell. You already have De'Aaron Fox. Do you want another guard? Jaden Ivey's projected as a point guard. He's a shooting guard, but he's projected as an NBA point guard, which is really risky. Let me just say that. You're just assuming this guy's going to be able to take on point guard responsibilities. I think that's just as risky possibly as taking a guy like Shaedon Sharpe who has no college film. But anyways, that's for a whole different day. I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole. What I will say is this. The Pistons wouldn't surprise me if they go with Shaedon Sharpe. I got a comment. I love making Pistons videos. If you guys want more Pistons videos, go ahead, let me know down below. But I made a Pistons video not too long ago, and I was talking about Sharpe, and they were like, why would we draft Sharpe? We don't have years to develop. I'm like, what? Yeah, you do. That's why. That's the whole draw to the Detroit Pistons right now is you got time. You got plenty of time to make mistakes, to go through learning experiences, to fail, to succeed, to see who do you want on your team in the long run. Is it Isaiah Stewart? Do you want to draft Keegan Murray? What do you want to do? Do you want to go out and sign DeAndre Ayton? Is he now is the perfect time for the Detroit Pistons to start scheming. They're very flexible. They're very versatile right now. You can do a bunch of different things. Do you want to get DeAndre Ayton? Maybe you go out, maybe you keep Jeremy Grant if you get Ayton. Maybe that means you're going to trade Jeremy Grant if you get Ayton. Who knows? The Pistons have a lot of different things they could be doing. So with Shaedon Sharpe, you have years you can wait to develop. The thing with high school prospects, and I want to say the number of total NBA players coming out of high school, I want to say the number is 44. And I want to say only about 8 of those. If it's not 44, it's something higher than that. And the answer is still about 8 of those turned into busts. So one of my biggest knocks with Shaedon Sharpe heading into the draft, in the videos I've been making the last couple of months was, we don't have any college film on him. I don't know. It seems like a pretty risky pick, and it still is going to be a risky pick because you don't necessarily have that film. His high school film is very impressive. You can tell he's a 5-star recruit. You can tell he also shared the floor with another 5-star recruit, so keep that in mind. He had pretty modest stats. He'll get you his double-digit points. He'll get you some rebounds. He'll get you some assists. He'll get you some steals. He'll get you maybe a couple blocks here and there. He'll shoot pretty solid. I think he shot 37.5% from downtown in high school. That is, important to know. I think he's 6'6", but his wingspan's almost 7 feet. It's a 6'11.5" wingspan. So that's literally an almost 7-foot wingspan. But like I said, man, if he goes to Detroit, you have plenty of time to develop him. It seems as if high school players going into the NBA who get drafted, who didn't play in college, it seems like it takes them at least a season to get kind of into the swing of things. So no matter where Shaedon goes next year, I would imagine he's not going to have a great year. I think he'll show flashes. I think he'll show his glimpses, but especially at being 19 years old. I mean, this kid was born in 2003. I'm still having a hard time processing that people were born in 2003. I was born in 99, so it's hearing anything that starts with a 2, I'm like, what? What? You were born in 2000 and what? 2003, Shaedon Sharpe was drafted or born in? That's unreal. I mean, that blows my mind. 2003? I cannot be alone on that one. I can't be alone on that one. I know for a fact I'm not alone on that one. Anyways, he's not going to blow up the stat sheet next season, wherever he goes. It's definitely going to take him at least 1 season, maybe even 2 seasons, and Detroit's a solid time. But he's young, he's 19, he's got almost a 7-foot wingspan, and defensively is really where I see the most on him. I mean, yeah, he can dunk. I've made videos talking about Shaedon, and I've made videos where, like, you know, they'll show like a clip, you know, they'll show like like just a workout in an open gym, and he'll like be playing against all these, you know, 5'8" white dudes who are small as hell, like built like pencils, and he'll like, you know, be going half speed, dribble in, dribble out. Like, yeah, it looks cool, but it's like half speed, you know. They'll get down to the paint and they'll like, it's like, whoa, whoa. I know you can do that, but you know, people were losing their mind at that. And it's like, you know, this is just open gym. Where I've seen Ben Simmons make consecutive threes in open gym videos. So take those with a grain of salt. But he is flashing his athleticism. Point being, he's a phenomenal athlete. He's a phenomenal athlete. Defensively is where people get very excited. You know, you've seen the comparisons of Paul George. I can kind of see the comparisons to Paul George. I don't know if he's going to be able to be as consistent of a shooter as Paul George is. I've seen comparisons to Andrew Wiggins. I kind of like those comparisons. More Warriors, Andrew Wiggins, not necessarily Minnesota Andrew, because that's where he really his only role really when Andrew Wiggins got drafted was to just kind of score. Never really got connected with the 3-ball until he got to Golden State. Golden State coaches him up well. Obviously, he's an athletic guy, but defensively, Andrew Wiggins, I mean, he was all-star starter this year. Like, defensively, guy's a stud as well. You know, he's just as good on defense as he is on offense. So there's a lot of hype around Shaedon Sharpe on the defensive end. So, you know, who knows what the Pistons are gonna do, man? I definitely don't. All I know is whoever gets Shaedon Sharpe, I'm gonna be relatively interested. I mean, I'm gonna be relatively interested. It's a very interesting. Like I said, I don't know the last time. Maybe it was last year. Maybe there's another one in this year's draft. Maybe I'm just an idiot. I would put money on this being the option, but like maybe this happens more than I think. But like I said, I really think there's only like around 50 people who have ever gone from high school to college or high school to the NBA, and I don't ever really see this happen. So whoever gets Shaedon, I'm going to be definitely paying close attention to, because it's just so interesting. It's literally just so interesting. You know, practiced with Kentucky, but like I said, I mean, he was on Kentucky, but he was on Kentucky, but he wasn't on Kentucky, if that makes sense. It really doesn't. So maybe he slips all the way to number 7. You know, maybe he slips to a team like Portland or a team like the Pelicans, and maybe that's where he makes a big impact. Who knows what's going to happen? But him on the Pistons, I do think would be interesting, and I don't think it's as crazy as some people make it seem. It's not just Pistons fans. It's like any team around Shaedon Sharpe right now, they're kind of like, it's super risky. And it's like, actually, it's crazy. It's literally crazy. I wish I had the goddamn stat where, like, you'd be surprised how many good basketball players and little busts there are just coming out of college or coming out of high school, no college. Like, it's a good amount. That's it for today, man. Go ahead, drop a comment down below, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys later.